let's see if I can do this fairly correctly. We only need this right now, anyways. Just this little box right here, because this is really where this is happening. Because it couldn't be this, right? That would be A matrix stuff, A level physics, before you get into the potential of the length on this or probability, what is collapsible to the infinities that range the same approximation while adjusting the skew within the limit. Okay, so again, didn't want you to do that and come back. Well, here from the line, we are starting with an equation base, but where is 0, 1? Fuck, I don't know. We're going to start here with actual timelineable events. This is I will fail you. This is where the potential on we just met. The first thing you see a demon hunter, I will fail you. This is not up, up, or up, down. This is a 45 about photons, gluons, W bosons, and Z bosons, brother. This kind of W boson starts to be W plus. This plus, in terms of the fractal on what this is inside of here, for what the limit Z and those indexes are going to be based in this kind of symmetry. They're going to have symmetry to all the other alphabetical numbers in different scales. So you're going to have to deal with at form ones and zeros in superposition with each other in different cubic structures that would give it some base index of what these references could correlate to in quantizing energy. So let's go back to again this length, this potential length of what this series may represent in terms of the solution. Make sure we find it here. Is again, to my theory, is an idea of the ones in series manual redshift for jumping loops for processing time, right? I'm not necessarily talking about what at the limit right now, from what I can tell. I've been paying attention to supercomputer chip designs and things like that, as they have a lot of processor. Here's an Apple phone. Now get the limits of the programming thing and all the free space to their individual quadrant size to do some program that does the autonomous thinking for you, given the structural bases of points like that pass through Penrose or special engineering bases, are the ways to square it in such a way. Now again, I'm sure I'm far out from the actual technology in itself, but it seems like if I had that close to hand, because mathematically it also works this way, the limited space is a scale problem as much as everything else. The limit here, we're breaking it down and making sure you have to stay in code sequence to the geometry, X and Y, and potential. If it's here going down, I'm creating a shadow base to what happens. The computer gets to see this step, not the past, not what could be options of alternate designs of these types of entropies, because it would correlate to the game theory. Y in this position plus what it knows about this position kind of correlates to the pieces acting or doing something or being ready to act or move in some of these situational models, because they base to the same potential, same derivative in sequence that applies. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, x, y, a, x, bx. These are zero functions now.
AK rho k.
But are they true, false, on, off, correctly,
plug in
with proper step waves of coming up at that action at a spooky distance in that way? So like, is it landing, well,
power rho to the k.
Actually kind of want the other one.
And just
see if I can go back and get that.
Everything is equal to 0. The coefficient of rho to the k in this equation should be 0. And that's the easiest way to select the power.
So
that's good practice.
Well, let's say this kind of builds out, and you're saying step 1 is this cubic structure that's on 1 with x and y.
So this will
2 in this top quadrant. 3 would be the extension of the box in itself that moves to those type of symmetries of a larger scale, in scale, to correlate the proper geometry to the hash function inside here. So again, you know, it's very weird. This is very, very messy. It's optically correct passing through, though, from this Ingling's angle of the way the optics would be lensed at you looking at a polarized. So if this is the diagram, right, here's the pipes. And let's say there's some hot action and spooky distance Feynman diagrams going on inside here. But it's in the pipes. And when you're factoring y by the photon base inside of there, stretching off to a timeline of eschatology, okay, so we're in apples. Let's say the simulator wanted to do apples. I need a Macintosh, not any range of special things. I need to know the wave function. Scan it, neural net it, don't get an acid. All the clones with all the same ranges of close to Macintosh apples on that tree would make a wave function that correlates to the core mechanics inside of that FMA, right? And the result that kind of correlates to that being that. Now again, you're quite far out from a real apple out of a hologram, right? Let's say we have a ways to go, but the holographic simulation inside of that would still be practically applicable, all but having Apple in hand to throw at you. Like, get it all the way. Still here, tracking it, censoring me. Good to go, smoothing, rendering, outstanding.
Don't worry about it.
Of course, in Oculus, it works the same way inverted. The photon base would be the glitchy stuff that are weighable IH values that say, okay, so that limits the search of where maybe the problem is from the IP address. Maybe only a couple of plastic gears are ripping apart inside GPT-3 right now. But anyway, listen, let me get this out of here. Yeah, get out of here. Yuck. Get this junk out of here. This is much better. You can see my coffee stains that one morning I sneezed. No good. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, and a couple of probably fancy symbols and numbers, because I'm a madman like that. But this is basically the whole chessboard in sequence, right? So I got D, E, A, B, C, D, E, K. Starting over in E. Keeping your chess game in mind. Why not arbitrarily that one? I know you're thinking A1, right? And you're right. That is true. The X and the A can both be that congruency. And you're right. In K2 for E7 to E for actually giving me the positions. I think that's what it was. Is it E2? Wait, hold on, go back. E2,
will not be too surprising.
E7.
So
let's see what E2 and E7 are.
Over K of
no.
AK, rho K, which is the function
the E7
is roughly
going to be here. Okay, so these are our first few positions that actually build to our chess gambit game later.
A0 can go
that would be
K factorial.
Carefuling with the universe here.
So this is A0.
We'll get to that. Again, obviously, this game is what we're looking for. This is the quickest checkmate you can have, essentially.
You got fair of it to do that. It's kind
the way you rip it down, though, is kind of like this. I'm making some big jumps, like big jumps in the type of thing neural net would actually do mechanical redshift in this. Did I do it once? Does that mean anything? Okay, so it always means that thing true, false, yes or no, probability indexes.
W, which is this, would go roughly like that.
Well, if the pawn is here and bishop's over here.
So the series must truncate. So
I got it. You can just see the base of it,
we
right?
must truncate the series. Okay, so here comes the interesting part, because there's lots of quantities, and that has to be done a little slowly so that nobody gets confused of what's going to happen. we have to terminate
well,
this
relatively speaking, again, this to this is this.
So how
What do
are
you mean?
we
How
gonna
is this
do
and
it?
this
I'm
the
gonna
same thing?
state
Well,
it
how
the
does this
following
work the
way.
same way that this does here and this does here?
I'm going to
Inverted
say
any
that
direction,
let's
which way you
assume
want to
that
go
we
with.
want a polynomial
Yeah,
of
look at
degree
it. You look at it.
capital N. There will be lots of
Yeah,
little
just stretch
constants,
them out over here.
capital N,
Because we're going to take this
little
out
n.
of here, crack this thing
I
inside here.
want a
There's a couple
polynomial
different
of
versions of
degree
this. This is
capital
very important to
N. That
understand.
means that
Somewhere's in here, I think.
A sub capital N is different from 0, and A capital N plus 1 is equal to 0. That's what should happen.
Oh, definitely.
If you have constants up to A capital N, you'll have rho to the capital N, and you'll have a polynomial of degree N. But that must happen that the next one must be 0. I don't have to state that all of the rest are 0, because it's a one-step recursion relation. Once A5 is 0, A6, A7 is 8, all of them are 0. That's it.
And you know what? You got to do it
And
while
we don't have
wearing
like
a
even or
pantomime
odd
suit, pretending
solutions
you're
that we
trapped
had
in a
for the
box.
harmonic oscillator.
Escape room.
Because these are functions of R, and R and minus R, you should not quite expect anything. Minus R doesn't exist.
Look at this
So
thing.
this is what
We got a
should
few
happen.
others.
But if that happens, think of this. You have AN plus 1
Interesting.
should be
Interesting.
0, so
Where
the
have I seen that
numerator should
before,
have
I
become
wonder?
0 for k equals to n. So you
Now,
have
I'm not saying I
1
have money
over
stocks like
kappa
this, but I'm just, I'm not saying I
is
have money
equal
stocks like
to
that.
2 n
I
plus
do it a bit different.
L plus
You want to platform this,
1.
get this thing going with.
And,
Oh, jeepers.
in
Look what
a
you make me do.
sense,
You make me
that's
work so
it.
hard. You can jump all over the
Whatever
universe
had
here.
to happen, happened. Why?
Why?
The energy got quantized already. Somehow it did.
Think
because
it's this
the
one I'm
energy
looking for?
is kappa.
Yeah, here we go. That's what I'm looking for.
Remember,
Except for that's on the
kappa
front side of that
squared
curve on the
actually
other
was
end of
the
that index.
ratio of the
And
energy
inverted
divided
here,
by the
well,
dimensional
quadrant
center.
base
So
anyways,
here it's
given what
saying
you're doing.
the energy is
Yeah.
some number
If it's this,
that has to do
and it's
with an
this, and all things
integer,
are convergent,
which is the
divergent,
degree
and
of the
congruent,
polynomial.
you know what
You're
I'm
going to use an L integer and 1. So
Catch you on that. Well, where are we?
this
Make sure we
is,
cover off
of
this.
course,
Okay.
pretty important.
Now,
So
out of
what values
who's still
happen
alive in the
here?
room?
What are the possible values
This
of
is
L?
a binary tree,
L
right?
here,
1, A, B, C, D, E.
L can go